Hey Misfits, hope you're good. Welcome back to the James Kennedy podcast. What have you been up to? You had a good week? I've basically just been working my ass off all week, every day, which is pretty much my life in all honesty, but I can't complain because they're all things that I choose to do for myself. My problem though is that I don't let myself enjoy any of them. Like I set myself this goal, like I'm going to fucking climb to the top of that mountain, metaphorically speaking. I wouldn't climb anything, I'm too lazy. But then I can't then not do it because I've told myself I'm going to do it. And I'm not happy until I've gotten to the top. So the entire process between saying I'm going to do it and then eventually getting to the top, whether that is a day or a week or a year or whatever, it is unpleasant, which is just the strangest psychology. I'm just frustrated until the thing is finished, and then I immediately pick a new mountain to go and climb. It's such a bizarre thing to put yourself through. So have I been outside enjoying the sunshine? No, I haven't. I've been sitting inside a studio with the windows closed for the audio, in my black skinny jeans, probably a black hoodie at some point as well, with the curtains closed, just blasting through my workload with a frown on my face. But then some of you know that I'm being a little bit dramatic for, self-depreciative effect here, because anyone that follows me on social media knows that I actually spent all day at the beach on Sunday. So I'm talking absolute bollocks. And you know what? I loved every damn second of it. I'm not going to apologize because lying by the sea is my favorite place to be. There's just something really primal, and I don't know what it is, about lying next to the sea. The ebb and flow, the inhale and exhale of the waves of nature. Something very calming and meditative about it. And also, just staring out at that horizon, that vast expanse of nothingness, essentially. I just find it great for creative thought or self-reflection. And it's also humbling as well. It makes you aware of your insignificance ultimately, and the sheer scale and force and wonder of nature. Do you know what I mean, man? My God, when did I start talking like such a hippie? Let's get the guest on quick before I start talking like trying to sell you crystals or some shit. Got a good one for you guys today. We're talking about the music industry, touring, and Brexit, and how it's basically made touring musicians' lives an absolute nightmare. So thanks for that, leavers. Now, as well as being a multi-camera vision director for artists such as Lady Gaga, Peter Gabriel, Madonna, and The Who, Tim Brennan is also the man behind the Carry On Touring campaign, which is urging the government to implement visa-free travel around the EU for touring artists and entertainers. Tim's petition gathered over 280,000 signatures and was debated in Parliament. Tim continues to campaign to this day, and I'm mad keen to find out where things are at. So Tim Brennan, welcome to the podcast, sir. How you doing, man?
Hi, James. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm hesitant to say once again that I've got a bit of a bourbon hangover because it's becoming a bit of a recurring theme now, and I think people are going to start to realise that I've got a problem,
Yeah, actually, I've also got a bit of a hangover as well. I just one too many last night.
What's your tipple of choice?
I had a nice couple of pints of local Burton Bridge ale, and a walk back from the pub. That was cool.
Nice.
But it was a good evening, and I think I had too many. So.
Well, some days it's just got to be done, man. And you've got a lot to pat yourself on the back for. The weather's good, so hey, why not?
Yeah. No, it's good. It's all good. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you today about your incredible Carry On touring campaign, which is obviously, massively relevant to me as a musician. But, this is an issue that affects so many industries as well. And you were the guy that started the petition that got over 280,000 signatures and was debated in Parliament. So that's a huge achievement, and it got such viral momentum as well. So, thank you for starting that and raising awareness and getting that ball rolling. How did it start?
Yeah, no, thanks. Well, the reason I started it, and tell me if I won't ramble on about stuff, but the reason I started it was I was sitting listening to, I think, Nick Ferrari or someone like that on the radio. I was just getting more and more angry about what I could see was going to happen with regard to touring and the red tape and all the nightmare that was going to ensue after the final sort of Brexit deadline. So I randomly sent off this petition to Parliament, and it's a funny thing. You don't really hear much back from it. They ask you for 5 signatures, so you go and say to a few people, "Yeah, sign this for me,"
yeah.
and that was it. And then the next thing I know, a good friend of mine, a drummer called Jed, sent me a message and said, "Have you seen this petition?" And I went, "Yeah, that's my petition." And he went, "Yeah, I know." And he said, it's gone viral. And I looked at it, and it was about 6,000 or 7,000 signatures, and this was like Christmas Eve. And so I said to the wife, "This has gone a bit mad," and we sat and watched it that evening, and it was being pushed by quite a few sort of celebrities, and we watched it go from 5,000 to over 12,000, and then over the next few days, it just skyrocketed. We hit the sort of debate part, like the 100,000 when it gets debated. We hit in about 4 days or 5 days.
That's amazing.
And then it just continued on and on. So, but it was like, wow, what so many people are obviously affected by it and concerned by it.
Well, people love music, don't they? People need music. We see this time and time again on issues that affect the arts and, music in particular. The general public and the music-loving public will put their hand in their pocket. They'll stand up and be counted. They'll get behind whatever campaigns they need to support the arts and to support the musicians that make the music that is the soundtrack to all of our lives. The problem is that isn't mirrored in the hallways of power where these decisions are made.
Well, yeah, I think that's the issue that we're facing, and I think we've, as the campaign has progressed, we've garnered a lot of support right across parties. So we've got Tories, we have obviously a lot of Labour supporters, a lot of Lib Dems, a lot of SNP. It's right across the board. And this campaign, it's not really about Brexit as such. It's about finding a solution for the problems that's been caused by Brexit. It's finding a way through all this red tape.
Yeah.
And I think that the one of the biggest things, as you say, is that you've got the corridors of power, and like the DCMS ministers and this, that, and the other. Whenever we write to them, and we frequently write to them and ask them questions and this, that, and the other, but they constantly come back to us and say it doesn't fit in with our manifesto pledge. To take back control of our border. And it's like, you said that for the last 18 months, you keep repeating the same line. And I think it stems back down to the Home Office. I think it's Priti Patel saying, look, I'm not budging on this.
Really?
And I think that's where it's sort of stuck, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, for those listeners then who don't as yet know what we might be talking about, would it be possible for you to explain exactly what the new situation is for, artists, entertainers, freelancers in many industries who are now trying to do their trade in Europe post-Brexit? What are the new challenges that those people face?
Sure. Okay. So let's first of all let's start with work permits and visas, basically. So each sovereign country, so there's 27 states or sovereign countries, as you like to call them, each one has their own right to set their own work permit regulation. And so something like France and Germany, Spain, and I think Greece as well now, have sort of said, well, okay, we'll say you can come over here for 90 days and work without need of a permit, although technically you're supposed to let them know that you're actually there working, and I think they can throw you out if you don't. But other countries, I think it's Hungary, you have to register as a resident before they will give you a work permit. So who's going to do that?
Yeah.
That's the issue. The biggest problem we face, though, really is access to the Schengen area.
Yeah. And
that actually comes down to, we're not allowed into the Schengen as we're now what's called a third country national. And that means that you've seen all the hassle in Dover in the last couple of weeks. It's basically, you can only go into Schengen for 90 days at a time.
Yeah.
And there's no way around it. And then once you've had your 90 days, you're out for 90 days. And that's why we say it's 90 and 180. Yeah?
Yeah, right.
So essentially, you can go in there for say you go over for 10 days, you do a 10-day stint, then you come back for 2 weeks, and then you want to go back again. You've still got to bear in mind that first 10 days. And so you're then only allotted 80 days. And then, it turns into... where it turns into an issue is for not sort of for artists as such that go in and out, because normally they're not normally over there for that length of time. But there are people out there, like technicians like myself, who will go from tour to tour to tour, and that could potentially go way over that 90-day limit. There's opera singers that sign on for an opera in, say, Spain or someone like that, and they often frequently go well over that 90-day limit, and so they're not being asked to do it. And it's the same with the dancers, and the same with everyone right across the board, to be honest. So that's the big issue for us. So you've got two things there. You've got the access for the 90 and 180. You've got to take that into consideration. You've got your work permits to think about, and then if you want to take gear with you, if you're taking a guitar, fine. If it's your own personal guitar and you can carry it through the border facility, you don't need a carnet.
Right. Now you've just led me straight into the next question, because I was going to ask you if you could explain the horror of the dreaded carnet for people who don't know.
Yeah. Well, so things are changing on this, but as at the moment, as far as I'm aware, if you're carrying a portable instrument, and it is only instruments, so guitars, I think drums, maybe a keyboard or something.
Anything
like
you can carry, yeah.
Anything you can carry through a border, a violin or whatever, you can carry through without the need of a carnet. You will need probably proof of ownership. If it's an instrument that has rare woods in it, you'll obviously be subject to the, I think it's the CITES issues, and that's another kettle of fish. But if you want to take anything else, like a toolkit or an amplifier, even an amp head, or if you're a photographer and you want to take cameras or laptops or stuff like that, then that's it. That's where you need a carnet.
Right, explain to them what a carnet is.
So a carnet is basically a document that says that you apply for the carnet, you pay a fee, and then you get it stamped on the way out, and you get it stamped on the way into Europe, and then you get it stamped from leaving Europe, and you get it stamped on the way back into the UK. And basically, it's a document that says that you won't sell that piece of equipment whilst you're over there. And that's kind of what it's about. It's to stop you saying, well, I'm going to sell this guitar, and that's it. Because obviously, there would be import duties and all that to pay.
Yeah.
So that's basically the need of why we have to have carnets is for customs, basically.
Well, it's just an extra headache to have to deal with on top of everything else, isn't it? For bands who oftentimes probably don't know what they're doing with this stuff. I mean, if you're a small band like you just described, you're traveling super light, you're all carrying, say, one instrument, and it's traveling with you, and you're sleeping on sofas and perhaps borrowing, the drum kit at the venue or something like that, then great, you can circumnavigate it, it's not a problem. But, if you're a professional band, traveling around Europe in a splitter, you've got drum kits and amps and cabs and boxes of merch, this is a royal pain in the ass, isn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, to be fair, once you're in Schengen, you're kind of okay in that sense. You don't have to sort of go once. If you go between France and Germany, for instance, you won't need to present your paperwork there.
Right.
It's only your entry into Schengen or entry into Europe and entry out again.
Yeah.
So exit out again, basically. So that's the issue. One thing to note is if you're driving a van or a splitter, and you've got a carnet, you're probably going to end up being loaded down the freight lines on the ferry or the train, and you'll get hit again for freight pricing, which is quite a bit more than you would if you went through the normal channels. So, you've not only got the cost of your carnet, which is about 390 quid plus whatever the bond is, then you'll have the cost of your freight tickets as well. I should say, let me explain the cost on the carnet. You got the fee to have it produced. As I say, it's around about the £350 mark, and then you pay a bond, and the bond is based on the value of the kit that you're taking.
Right.
And it's essentially an insurance, kind of like an insurance policy. You pay that bond, and then I believe you get the bond back at the end of it. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the carnet situation. And then obviously merch is another nightmare, to be honest. Merch is not my real strong point. I've never really had to deal with it, to be honest. But it's my understanding that if you're allowed to carry in your personal baggage out of the UK, you can carry, I believe it's £1,500 worth of merchandise. But the flip is, if you can only take into Europe in your hand baggage €1,000. So basically, do one thing: ignore the £1,500 UK limit. You're allowed €1,000 to take into the EU, and that's per person. But and this is the big sticking point. You have to be careful about the rules of origin, and that's so if your T-shirt. So if you've got a bunch of T-shirts printed and they've been produced and made in China, and then you've had them shipped they're into the UK, you've had them printed by a local T-shirt company, and you go, right, that's it, I've got my T-shirts, off I go. You've got to be really careful. The rules of origin state that you'd be importing those from China into the EU.
Got you.
And that's will stick. And that's the bit I don't really know that much about, so that's where I'm going to end it on that one. But it's there's plenty of people out there. Ian Smith, my co-buddy on Carry On Touring, is much more up on that side of it.
Well, that's already quite a lot of stuff, and there's so much capacity there for error and confusion. And I can just imagine for a band that, like an independent band, particularly, there's a lot of bands that are doing this now, independently, without the support of a label infrastructure and stuff like that. This is just an absolute fucking minefield.
I just have to say though, it sounds like a nightmare, and I don't want to say, look, it's a nightmare, forget it. But it is doable. You can do it. It's just that it's going to take a lot of red tape and a lot of hassle and a lot of grief.
Right.
There's a lot of bands out there that are doing it, and just go. You see them on Facebook or on Twitter and stuff, and they say, "Oh, this was hell," or "That was hell." But I think once the information starts being built, and we start getting people regularly doing it, and we can sort of say to someone, what happened there? And you can say, yeah, okay, I understand what's going on. You need to go to that border point or that border, or, to go here for this document or that document. No, you know what I mean? And we can sort of say, right, guys, if you want a tour, yes, you can do it. These are our guidelines. These are what we're saying. This is how to do it.
Right.
This is something that the government should be putting together for us. And to be honest, as far as I can tell, anything that's been achieved so far has been done by the industry itself. I've really stumbled on it. Well,
I think you made a really important point there, because the bands that are out there at the moment doing this are kind of the first over the hill, aren't they? They're the first out the trenches, and obviously I'm part of that community, so I get the feedback from people, and none of it so far has been good.
No.
But once there's been a bit of time perhaps, and we've got a bit of a knowledge base and a bit of a pool of advice and experience from the bands that have already been out there and done it now, then perhaps over time it might get easier, because people will know what to do, because that knowledge gets passed around and gets handed down. But we shouldn't be having to fix this ourselves. This should be sorted by the people that created the mess in the first place, which is the bloody lawmakers.
Well, yeah, sadly that is the case. I should say there's a lot of information out there already. So on carryontouring.uk, our own website, we have a lot of links. There's a whole section called the info hub, and on that there's one document on there which is really handy, because it shows you where to go, what in each port, and where to get your carnet stamped, and where to get all the paperwork done, basically.
Right. Yeah, got you.
That's very good. On the if you're in the Musicians Union, you can access a lot of great information on their website, and the same with the the Incorporated Society of Musicians, the ISM. They have some fabulous information readily available, all about work permits. Ian Smith runs UKE Artworks. He's got a lot of information on there. There's links to all of this stuff in the carryontouring.uk website, info hub page. Good plug there. Sorry about that. But
No, plug away. I've got your links ready to plug. if we want people to get on the website and get informed for, downstream, and also to get behind the campaign and help out,
That's what we're trying to do, is put information in front of people to sort of say, look, guys, it is possible. It's a royal pain in the butt, but it can be done. Don't be put off, because that's the last thing we want is for people to say, do you know what? I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, well, we have seen, a lot of bands, falling off festival bills and, cancelling huge swathes of dates in certain territories and stuff like that. And there's a lot of, I think it's very convenient to blame things on COVID at the moment, but it's happening so much. I honestly believe it's got more to do with finance.
Yeah.
Because it's so damn expensive to do a tour. I mean, even as a mid-level successful band, with label backing, you're thousands of pounds in the red before you even set foot at the door,
Yeah.
So I think with these extra obstacles and barriers to surmount, I think it is turning a lot of bands off, and we're definitely seeing that, and it can't all be the fault of COVID.
No, I definitely agree, and I think that's a real shame, because I think we have so much cultural and different types of bands to offer, and a new sort of music coming out all the time. It would be criminal for it not to be toured. Especially like the issue with streaming. Artists aren't making money from streaming anymore. They have to make it from going out on the road and putting it out in front of people. And if that stops because of the problems around Brexit, then that's gonna have a massive impact on what music's coming out these days.
Totally,
and
yeah.
We say, there's not an hour in the day when I haven't got music around, and it's, for me, it would be a living nightmare if suddenly one day there was no more music.
Yeah.
It would be horrible.
Well, that is one thing. I've said this on other episodes, talking about the music industry and stuff like that. That is one thing that this country does so damn well. We are like top of the league, I think. On the world league table of look at the iconic bands we churn out, man. It's it's easy to name all the old classics, but I mean we're still doing it now. You know what I mean? There's so much good music coming out of this tiny little island, and I think it's one of our best exports. We suck at many things, like food being one of them, but when it comes to music, man, we're hard to wrestle with.
No, that's right, indeed. And I will shout out for all the people like myself, like all the techs and stuff as well, because there's a lot of people, a lot of time in Parliament, and that they're talking about Labour is terrible for this. They'll talk about the issue and they'll say, oh, we're trying to sort out the issue for musicians touring the EU, but it's like, oh, hang on, guys, it's not just musicians.
True.
It is the musicians, it is the dancers, it is the individual artists, it's the photographers, the fashion people, theatre, actors. There's so many people that are affected by this. And like you say, our creative industries in this country are second to none. We produce stuff that is phenomenal, and we have so much ability to be able to push it out around the planet, and people around the planet are always coming to us and looking at what we're doing and watching, and it's an amazing how this small island, like you say, produces so much great content.
And have you seen yourself, or do you know of any research or studies that have been done on this yet as to whether there has been a detrimental effect on the industry, or are things kind of staying afloat and functioning as they were despite the extra ball ache? Or has there been a noticeable detrimental effect on our industry or your industry?
Yeah, for definite. There has been. We're getting to a situation where someone like myself, I work for various bands, either directly for a band or for a production company. I work for a lot of American production companies, and they will come over to Europe and they'll pick up like a local crew like myself. We might tour around Europe, and then they'll say to me, right, come on, we're off to Australia, or we're off to South America or the Far East. And they're saying to me now, well, actually, we can't do that. We don't want to pick you up to take you around Europe anymore because of all the extra hassle.
Right.
I've had American production managers saying, I'm sorry, we're having to use European crew, or crew that have dual nationality or dual passport.
Well, once you've done your 90 days as well, you can't. That's it.
Well, that's it again. I mean, why are they going to give me the job, or a person like myself, when they can go through someone who's maybe an Irish person with an EU passport who's not restricted to the 90 days?
Yeah.
And that's where we're losing out, and that's losing a massive amount of income for this country. And we keep saying that to the government, but the government just keep coming back with this same old.
Well, you made a very interesting point at the start, and I sort of jumped in and steered you elsewhere at that point, but I'd like to come back to it if that's okay. You mentioned that you think that this actually, truthfully, comes down to Priti Patel's immigration policy and keeping a hard line on the hard border, which is non-negotiable as far as the Home Office is concerned. With everything you've done on this campaign now since you started, is that your conclusion as to what you think is actually going on here?
Yeah.
Right.
I think absolutely. Everything we've done has always come back, and it's always been that same answer. It's always down to, we can't do this because of our manifesto promise. Well, how many other manifesto promises have they broken? You've got people like Lord Frost who's admitted that the EU offered us a better deal, and they turned around and said no. It's like, well, why? Why did you do that? But, what I don't get is, it's not as if someone like myself or you or any artist, they're going to go and tour Europe. They're going out there. They're going to play their shows, and then they're going to move to a different area. They might come back to the UK. They might go to America or Australia, and they're going to go and play shows there. Yeah. They're not going out to live. They're not going to go out and suddenly go, oh, do you know what? I'm going to stay here and live in France, or I'm going to live in Germany.
Right.
Or and it's the same the other way around. So if a French band want to come here, they're not going to suddenly want to jump ship and say, actually, I'm going to stay, and that's that. They're too busy thinking about the next show down the road and going, well, I'll get to Germany,
Yeah.
So I think there's a big... The whole thing about this is, I think, there is a sticking point there. And I think until something changes radically, I don't think they're going to give us any leeway on it.
Oh man, that sucks.
One of the things that really, really we need help on is this 90 and 180 day rule.
Yeah, 100%.
If we could get some form of exemption, or maybe like a 2-year access visa or anything that would give us the ability to sort of say, look, guys, we're as I say, we're here just working. I'm here for 100 days. I'm on this tour, and then I'm off again.
Yeah.
Or I'm here for 6 months on this show. Do you know what I mean? It would be so much easier. But until we can get that sort of that process, until we can persuade our government to take that on board and take that to the EU and sit down with the EU and sort of say, come on, let's try and make this easier. Let's make this work. Until that happens, I don't think we're going to get anywhere. And I think, frankly, the sticking point for that, for my opinion, this is my own personal opinion, the sticking point for that is at the Home Office.
Right.
I just think that Priti Patel, as Fratley said, no, that's it. And that's where we're at.
Well, not that we needed any more reason to hate Priti Patel, but, I suppose the death of our musical export would be a good one, on top of all the other evil that woman is responsible for, but let's not get into that. I mean, is there any hope in any of the political parties? Is one party stronger on this issue than any other, or is it, a minority of MPs cross-party that are fighting the corner on this?
No, I think there are genuine... I think there's a genuine want to sort the issue out. I think the cross-party wise, I think most parties actually want to get it sorted out. It's just the sticking points have got to be ironed out. I think Labour, I think SNP, Liberal Dems, and a lot of the Tories. If you look at what they're saying, a lot of the MPs are behind us. They want to get it sorted out. We've even got staunch Brexiteers. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but one of the main Brexiteer guys, a Conservative, he's supporting us.
Right.
He's saying, well, yeah, okay, it seems weird that this guy's supporting us, but no, it's because he wants to find a solution to the problems as well.
Yeah.
I can see why I can see that he's looking at it in a kind that he needs to make Brexit a success, and finding a solution to this mess will help him make it a success. I mean, I quite freely admit I voted to remain, and I don't see Brexit will ever be a success. But
no,
if we can find a solution to get this mess sorted out, and maybe a few other messes sorted out, then maybe we can sort through it. But
it's only an agreement, isn't it? We just need to have an agreement that this is a work visa, essentially, because we're there working. It's good for their economy, it's good for our economy. It's not an immigration issue, because, like, as you say, we're not settling, we're moving on, and we're coming home again. It's a work permit.
Yeah. Well, like you just said just there, it's not about just us, it's about the local economies that we go to. And I've been saying this for a long time. If a band plays a 50,000 seat stadium in Amsterdam, plays, say, maybe the Rai Stadium, and 50,000 people turn up to watch that gig. That's a lot of transport. That's a lot of restaurants. That's a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of taxis.
Yeah.
All the security staff, all the bar staff, all of these people that rely on that work. That's a lot of money going into those local economies. I always give this example. Sacha Lord, the guy from Manchester, who's the nighttime czar, as it were. He said to me once, he puts on Park Life up in Manchester, and he said that brings in £17.1 million into the economy for Manchester.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount of money, and this is happening all around Europe. There's like festivals now that are being cancelled because they can't get the UK bands to go over there.
Yeah.
And that's some of those festivals are in quite remote parts, and it takes a big hit out of those areas. So, but it's not just those big shows. It's the little guys. How many little shows were there all going on of a night time all over Europe? And that all has a knock-on effect.
Damn right.
I mean, and I kind of think that's one area that we can put some pressure on the EU from that side of it, by sort of saying to these local communities, these nighttime mayors and whatever, sort of saying to them, look, have a word with your cultural ministers and your financial ministers, and say, look, this is affecting us, not having these people coming over. And maybe we can get some traction that way.
Well, how does it affect bands in Europe coming to the UK then? I mean, I know that I keep banging on about bands, and I'm keeping this very music industry focused. When as you pointed out, this doesn't just affect my community of rock bands. That this affects tons of industries, but just keeping it sort of narrowed down on the musical side of things. How does it affect European bands who want to do dates in the UK?
I don't think it's as bad as such. There's a number of channels they can use to come into the UK. One of which, and this is Ian's strong point, because as a booking agent himself, he's used to doing this sort of stuff. But basically, one of the things that is the way of doing it is a certificate of sponsorship. Now, Ian is a guy that can organise certificates of sponsorship. I can never say it. And basically, what that means is an artist will go to Ian, he'll arrange a certificate. When the artist comes into the UK, they bring the certificate with them. They have to have it stamped at the airport or wherever they're coming in. And it's crucial that they get this stamped, because if they don't get it stamped, then and this is happening a lot, if they don't get it stamped, they're working illegally in the UK.
Right.
And that throws up a lot of issues. So again, vitally, like us going out, we have to abide by their paperwork, their rules. We have to do the same. They have to do the same coming here.
Right.
So there's a lot of, it does affect them. It affects them both ways. Yeah.
It's so irritating. It's so pointless. I mean, what's the point of all of this? I mean, what have we gained? We gained nothing. But I don't want to go down a Brexit wormhole. But I voted to remain, the same as yourself. And the fact that this affects the industry that I've spent my entire life working my ass off in, just the same as you have in yours, in such a terminal way, is just doubly offensive to me. I mean, I hate Brexit anyway for every other reason, but this just adds, it just leaves an even worse taste in your mouth, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. No, it really does. I mean, as I say, the day that the vote was announced, as like, oh, why are we doing this?
I know. For me, there was like a sequence of things. I can't remember the order, but there was Boris Johnson, there was Brexit, and there was Trump, and it just became staggeringly clear to me that like we can't be trusted. Don't give us a vote, don't give us a referendum, because we cannot be trusted to not fuck things up for ourselves.
No, I know. I mean, all I hope is that there's a resolution to it somewhere along the line,
Well, revolution is what we need, not resolution, but but I think one is more likely than the other. So speaking of resolutions, then, I mean, thanks to your amazing campaign, you actually got this issue debated in Parliament. So could we talk then about what the nature of that debate was? What was the outcome? And is this an open-ended conversation ongoing, or are we case closed now with this?
So really, it was more about raising awareness of the situation. I think a lot of the whole thing was kind of under the radar, and I don't think people really realised what essentially was going to happen. And you see that a little bit in some of the comments, some of the tweets that you see, like ministers putting out about, oh, you can just go through. They should just wave you through at Dover. There's a lot of misunderstanding about the whole issue. But yeah, so I think the petition, the debate, and everything was about raising awareness of the situation.
Right.
And that's what the campaign's been about. I mean, off the back of the petition, we had the debate and we started the campaign. And the campaign's been going, as I say, for 18 months, since December 21, but 2020, sorry. But yeah, it's an ongoing debate. We, as you well know, we're going to be fortunate to have one of the Lords who sponsored a room for us in the House of Parliament on September the 6th, and we're going down to have a meeting with parliamentarians and try and build the case more.
Right.
We've got an amazing industry, an amazing amount of people fighting this corner. It's not just Carry On Touring. As I said earlier, You've got the Musicians Union, you've got the ISM, you've got the Live Group, you've got UK Music, you've got featured artists, FAC, you've got music managers. There's a raft of organisations that are fighting this corner, and it would be remiss of me not to sort of give them a shout out, because a lot of the stuff that's been achieved, it's been achieved by these other organisations.
Great.
So, but yeah, when we are a bit of a shout a lot at the make a lot of noise. That's our campaign. That's what we try and do. Unfortunately, I've got a lot of good followers on Twitter, and so we regularly get quite viral tweets retweeted across the board to just make people aware, that this is what's going on.
So since the hearing then, despite the amazing work by yourself and many others in getting it this far, there hasn't been any political progress to speak of as yet. Is that where we're at?
No, I have to say there has been some progress. We have Spain, for instance, were one of the countries that were up in the air about their work permit situation. They've now come on board, and that was that came about because of the industry were talking to the promoters in Spain, and the promoters went to the Spanish government and were saying, "Come on, guys, you need to sort this out." So that's come around. The same in Greece. That's come on board. There are manoeuvres. There are countries beginning to do this. We had a fairly recent win with regards to trucking. it's a bit of a difficult one to explain, but essentially the situation is now a lot of the large trucking companies have moved half their fleet into Europe, so they're based, and the truck itself is registered in Europe.
Right.
That in itself makes a bit of an issue. If you take, for instance, a large tour that's out at the moment has got, say, 50 trucks on it, and those trucks move from France, say, into the UK. Before this agreement that happened a couple of weeks back, those trucks would be stopped, and they'd have to. A UK truck would have to come along, pick up the trailer, and take it off. But now we've got this dual registration situation where the UK have given us a kind of turning kind of a blind eye, letting us come in with those European trucks, do the UK leg, and then going back out again without having to have the trucks dual registered. And that's quite a big win. Sadly, that doesn't help the smaller companies, and it certainly doesn't help the orchestras that own their own specialist trucks.
Yeah.
Those guys are still struggling to do their tours. But yeah, there is progress. You can't say that there hasn't been progress. There is progress.
Right.
But still, we need to still keep banging on about this.
Yeah.
Until we get proper answers and proper discussion.
So what can people do to help then? People listening to this, the general public, can they pressure their MP? Can they raise the issue with them?
Yeah.
Or is there something else they should be doing?
No, for sure. The best thing to do is to email your MP and just put pressure on, point them at the Carry On Touring website or the Musicians Union website or the ISM. Get the MPs to sort of raise the issue. That's what we need. We need more MPs raising the issue in Parliament, so that it puts pressure on the government to try and get it sorted out. That's the only way we're going to get it sorted. We need the government to actually listen.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes from. It's the fans. We need the fans to get out there and shout about it.
And how can people support the Carry On Touring campaign?
By all means, if you go onto the website, you can sign up. Just follow us on Twitter. Just retweet anything that we're putting out. Follow us on. We've got a Facebook group. Just on social media. Just follow us. Retweet stuff.
Okay, so basically, get to the website then at Carry On Touring. Let me just make sure I get this right. carryontouring.uk. And from there, you can be linked through to all of the other pages, such as Twitter, which is carryontouring_. So give the guys a follow on everything. Stay up to date, stay informed, and, get in touch and figure out some ways that you can help as well. Like Tim said, share stuff, amplify things, get involved in the petitions and the campaigns, and just spread the word as well. Educate your friends and your family about this stuff. Because it doesn't just affect, the music industry, like I keep suggesting that it does. As Tim said, this affects loads of industries, and it has a knock-on effect through other industries as well. So please do get involved and try and amplify and help in any way that you can. And as Tim said, get on the backs of your MPs as well. Make them aware of this and keep hammering on about it. They have to speak to you. And as Tim said, there are many MPs who are on side with this issue and will do everything they can to fight the cause from within the halls of power, which is ultimately, where the change is going to happen. So, there is plenty of things you can do. So please do get involved. And, there is hope as well, because as Tim said, there is that support there throughout all of the major parties within the MPs. So, even though we are far from the finish line, the fact that support already exists and that awareness already exists should be a powerful source of hope.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and without the support of the MPs that we have and the Lords, and without that support, we wouldn't be anywhere. So hats off to them for supporting us and trying to get the mess sorted out. It is a mess. Sometimes I despair at what the government are doing, and it is sometimes it can be very, very difficult to carry on.
Yeah.
But it's got to be. You've got to carry on, because it's not just about old farts like me. It's about the youngsters that are coming up that want to go out and do this stuff. I mean, I've been touring 30 years, and I've been all over the place. I've had great fun. The youngsters that are just starting their careers, they've got all that to look forward to. So,
Yeah.
you know, it needs to be sorted out for those guys
Yeah.
and the fans and, you know, everyone really.
Amen. Amen. No, 100%, man. Well, we know change of any kind is possible because we've seen it before. So all it takes is the will and the effort and the energy and the morale behind it to make it happen, you know? Although we are up against some pretty stiff opposition on this one because, of course, you know, we haven't spoken of their name in a while, but, you know, we are ultimately up against the devil incarnate on this one, which is the aforementioned Priti Patel.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Sorry, man, I had to get one final dig in, you know. Well, Tim, thanks so much for your time today, man. I'm going to let you go. Thanks for everything you've done to lead the charge on this and for, you know, giving us the lowdown on where we're at and everything today as well. Best wishes with the rest of the campaign and everything that you're doing, and hopefully we'll see you out there in the trenches sometime.
Okay, man. No worries. It was good talking to you.
You too. Cheers, Tim. Take care, man. Speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Tim Brennan, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for him. So there you go. Now you know. Now you know what's going on out there as a result of that daft Brexit thing that some of you bloody voted for. You know, as if us musicians haven't got it hard enough as it is already. We make no money on streaming. Our venues are closing down left, right, and centre. Nobody thinks it's a real job or takes you seriously, you know, and then, you know, this happens. So now we can't even go and perform in Europe without added barriers and bureaucracy and ball ache. You know, if there are any staunch Brexiteers, you know, leavers that are listening to this whose general views on Brexit are unchanged, I hope that after listening to that, you can understand our position on this as people whose industry is affected by this. And even if that doesn't change your view on Brexit more generally, I hope that you can see the need for this restriction to be lifted on our particular industry and others. You know, I mean, these are just pointless strangleholds which serve no purpose whatsoever and could easily be lifted and changed. So come on, Brexiteers, we need you on side. Stop reading the Wetherspoons magazine and get involved. You like music too, right? You know, what do like right-wing Brexiteers listen to? I don't know. Ted Nugent or something. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But this isn't just a music thing anyway. You know, this is something that affects so many industries, probably most of which are already on their knees after 2 years of pandemic lockdown. You know, and this isn't an ideological left or right issue. You know, this is an economic and a cultural one, you know, so I think everybody can get on board and get behind us on this. So get over to carryontouring.uk and on Twitter at carryontouring_. There's other links as well on the website to the Facebook group, and, you know, I think there's Instagram as well. Give the guys a follow and stay up to date on the progress and how things are developing. And, you know, remember to share stuff and help to amplify and raise awareness and spread the word. Speak to your MP and do anything else you want to do. Smother yourself in marmalade and run around the streets of Westminster naked if you want to, screaming, you know, about this. That would be really cool if somebody wants to do that. I wholeheartedly endorse your efforts. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks again to Tim for being brilliant and coming on and chatting with us today. Before I go, one final nag. You know what I'm going to say. If you know what I'm going to say, why haven't you done it yet? Subscribe to the goddamn podcast. Hit the subscribe button now. Hit the follow button. Hit whatever you got to hit to, you know, keep me happy. And make sure you leave a rating as well and leave a review and some comments. And as always, send me your thoughts. I shall see you next week with another awesome guest and another awesome episode of the James Kennedy Podcast. In the meantime, look after yourself, stay sexy, stay awesome, and I shall see you next week. Love you loads. Bye-bye.